university. It gets so violent, so ugly, so foul that they canceled the darn thing, but not before a lot of people were hurt and many, many more were scared. That has already prompted talk that maybe federal funding for such institutions should be called into question. Ashley Pratte from the American Legislative Exchange Council. I don't know what's the right posture here, Ashley. I mean, the school is saying, look, you know, we were okay with this guy coming. We had no idea it would have the kind of response it did, but it happened. So they must have seen there was a distinct possibility because, well, it happened. So what do you do?
I find it hard to believe that this was unplanned and that all of these thousands of students just happened to coalesce in one central area on campus and wreak havoc. The important point to make here is that these are not peaceful protests. These were violent riots, and that is downright criminal. To obstruct free speech, that is an issue that the chancellors must take up, and we are seeing this all across the country on campuses everywhere. Things like this are happening because of the whole safe space movement. So basically, students are being told, in your safe space, you can say this, you can say that, and if things offend you, you can speak out. And we at ALEC would say, that's great, you know, protest, that's a right to free speech as well. But the problem becomes when we coddle students and it leads to this violent culture where people can't express their right to free speech anymore. And that's something that is detrimental to the future of our country.
So you think that the university could have controlled this? You know, they say that this just mushroomed out of control and that there were various groups that acted up and all this, and then, well, now you know what happened. So to threaten taking their funding away when, in fact, the invite was originally out there, you would be doing what?
Look, I think it is great that the invite was out there from the beginning. I think colleges should be places where diversity of opinion and thought are encouraged. That's what they're supposed to be. But suppression of free speech is not what should be happening, and that is exactly what happened last night. By protesting the violent way that they did, they caused an event to be canceled, and that is problematic. Those students who wanted to attend had a right to attend. The students who wanted to protest had a right to protest.
They were robbed of that chance. But, you know, Ashley, it is a pattern here. If you think about it, this is a little bit more violent, but even protests on the day of the Donald Trump inauguration and then afterwards, I mean, people are certainly free to do this sort of thing. But now you have people who are opting out in Washington not to go to the inauguration, congressmen and women not going. The latest trend now not to even show up at cabinet confirmation hearings, those who came out to say that they weren't even going to consider Donald Trump's choice for the Supreme Court. Sight unseen, didn't even know who he would choose. This is now in crazy territory.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. We now live in an age of protests and marches every weekend, and I live here in the city, so I see it every weekend now that Trump has been, you know, inaugurated. But that's healthy. It is healthy for this to happen in democracy. And again, at ALEC, we have a Center to Protect Free Speech that we launched because this is such an important issue, not for just the detractors out there, but for those who are advocates of free speech, because people have the fundamental right to protest as well as their right to free speech. And last night, the students who wanted to attend that event were robbed of the opportunity where, again, diversity of thought should be encouraged on college campuses because some students decided to take it into their own hands to incite violence. And that is problematic, and it is not healthy because, again, these should be places where students can freely express themselves, and instead we're seeing a very desensitized culture where now things can't be said because we have safe spaces, and safe spaces don't seem to be so safe anymore when there's bonfires and windows being smashed and students getting pepper sprayed.
And now you wonder about other conservatives or anyone who wants to speak at a university. If they know this is what happens, they'll opt out. Other universities will opt out. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Ashley, thank you very, very much. All right, well, one thing you've learned already about President Trump, he is an